Hi, my name is Jon Foster-Pedley and I'm the Dean and Director of Henley Business School in Africa. Henley is part of Henley Business School Global, which in turn is part of the University of Reading in the UK, a 100-year-old university. And Henley itself is nearly 80 years old. We operate in China, Malaysia, Southeast Asia, India, the Middle East, Africa, where we have a large operation, of course in Europe, the UK, and with some work also in Canada. I want to talk to you today a little bit about our research. Over the last few years, Henley Business School in Africa is transforming ourselves from principally a teaching business school into one with deep international research, led by Professor Dani Petzer, who has done a remarkable job over the last few years to build our research capability. And in recent years, we've started to work with international universities spread across the world, in the USA, in UK, in Poland, in Asia, and in Spain. These collaborations with over 40 international researchers are bringing really fascinating research to South Africa. We want to provide institutions and businesses in South Africa with really relevant research about Africa that's also international, that's deeply accredited, well published, and can really help our partner organizations to perform well, knowing that what we teach is based on substantial, rigorous research that's going to bring the latest thinking, insights, and innovation to organizations in Africa. Let me tell you briefly about some of the research centers we have. We have 6 at the moment. One is Dunning Africa, which is focused on international business, international trade, innovation, and doing business across Africa. Another one is the John Majeski Center for Reputation, which thinks about how can we build our reputation, how can we get engaged in social impact projects and really have relevance and meaning in our work across Africa. Another one is the Henley Center for Leadership Africa, working with our Henley Center for Leadership in Europe, bringing a collaboration, insights crossing boundaries and crossing continents to show what leadership means both in emerging economies and in developed economies, bringing people together to think deeply about what leadership means for the future. The fourth one is the Henley Africa Center for Emerging Market Consumer Studies, giving us insights into what consumers are doing in these emerging markets, critical information for businesses, both internationally coming to Africa and also for our African businesses and institutions who want to have really deep consumer insights. We also have Henley Explore, which focuses on immersive experiential cases using virtual reality. Now, we've been pioneers in this. The Case Center in Europe has their first ever virtual reality cases, which they've published, and they've come from us here in Africa. We have 10 films so far we've produced, ranging from Nigeria to Kenya to South Africa and elsewhere, looking at large corporates, looking at markets, looking at different contexts. What you can do with these virtual reality cases is you can dive in and get a feel for what it's really like to work in those environments. And then we have case studies, case notes that go along with those so people can use those for teaching across the world to get a real vivid, vibrant insight into African business and what it's like to succeed in this environment. The 6th case center we have at the moment, and we're growing, is the Change Science Institute. And in this, we're working with BrightRock Africa, an insurance company, and they have massive data which we're capitalizing on to bring insights into how we manage change. We're going to produce apps, workbooks, manuals, and a whole range of instructional material which people can use and access to help them manage change in these difficult environments we face in our emerging economies. And I'd also like to tell you about our new fascinating research magazine, which you'll be able to pick up in airport lounges and other places around South Africa, as well as getting it off our website. This is it. It's innovations, provocations, and explanations, and that's exactly what it does. In this, you find easy to read, summarized research, which you can read on the airplane or at home or in the office, with links that you can get the full details. They're really fascinating. We've got 33 of these white papers, which you can read about here, produced by some of our well over 40 or 50 researchers, all of whom are really experienced and many of whom are senior executives and senior educators. So I hope that you will access this and find some really interesting and novel approaches to get small pieces of learning which you can dive deeper into by downloading the material at your own leisure. Henley is changing from being mainly teaching into a research powerhouse here in Africa, leveraging our international partners, our international academics from our universities, both the ones we are part of and the ones we ally with, so that we're going to bring powerful research to do in Africa. We're very proud of this. We have a whole range of webinars coming up. We have a whole range of publications and journal articles coming up. So what we want to do and bring to you is research that's going to be useful. Not just African research, not just international research looking out into Africa, but a collaborative research, building meaning across continents, whether it's to Asia, to Europe, to North America, to the Middle East. That brings insights from all of those and helps people who want to work in emerging countries to do it better, and helps people in our emerging and developing economies to be able to do work with international businesses better, but above all, to build our own confidence and insights and to be proud in what we are developing in Africa, to show the world that what we have in Africa and to show the world that the future as Africa is very, very real. And it's going to give pathways for people to come and work with us so that we can develop our economies and develop our nations.